Okay, today we have Omar's Audi A4 cluster here. Have not done one of these before. So, we're going to find out just what the scoop is. So, I'll begin to take this apart by removing the screws on the back, and we'll see what we can do. Alright, here we go. We have 4 clips, 2 on each side, that have to be pried out. You can use a little bodywork tool available at any auto supply and get 4 of them for like $6 or something. Pry them out, and then there's some little notches here. I put a 90-degree awl in there to pull the back of the cluster off. And then here we go. Looks like we're going to have to unplug some wiring here, and we'll proceed to take this apart. It's got some capacitors, a couple of chips. Not sure what that little guy is. Well, let's put the camera down and investigate. Alright. Instead of pulling this felt off, which kind of leaves some of it on there, and there is some type of little fastener right there, but this little thing, if I can focus on it, looks like a speaker grill cloth. There are 2 of them on there. It seems to be glued. So what I think, then I noticed there's some clips here. So what I think I can do is take the whole black plastic with the front cover off as one piece. No use to separate the clear plastic because I won't be able to get to the needles with kitchen spoons or kitchen knives to remove them. So I think we'll just try and take the whole piece off, and let's try now. Okay, sure enough, after unplugging our 4 wires here, little multi-cable, this will just lift right out. If I can do it with one hand. Yep. And here is our gauge face. Okay, our next step will be to try and remove the needle. Since I don't have a Audi A4 here to reset the needles, I'm a little cautious about this. So we'll try and do this gently. I wonder if some of my clear and white needles will fit on here. We'll find out soon enough. Okay, so it's time to remove the needles in the faceplate. After noticing that the fuel and the temperature gauges were still on the faceplate, I tried unsuccessfully to pry this little tab out to get the smaller gauges out, when all I really needed to do was come in at the end and push and snap. They came right out, or at least one did. I have the other one to do. So here's our little fuel gauge, and then I made a note telling which side had fuel and which side had temperature. So onward to the fog I go. Oh yeah, before I put my camera back in the case, now most of the needles I work with, they spring back to where they came from. Not this. In fact, it feels kind of tight. I can feel the little steps in the motor. Wow. So that's interesting. Both of them, I guess when electricity is applied to the stepper motor, then it loosens up and works correctly. But that's a little scary because I don't have a car here to reset the needles with. Okay, anyway, it's just a note. Here's one more interesting note here on this Audi A4. There are no needle stoppers. I've never seen that. Usually there's a little pin for the needle to stop on. So hopefully that will allow me to put the needles back in place without having the car here. All I have to do is step it down to the bottom and make sure that's where it is when I put the needles back on. That is at the bottom of the swing here. So anyway, when removing our speedometer needle, it came apart. I've already snapped the 2 pieces back together, but that's pretty interesting how it has a little outer cover. And how you remove these needles, you simply put 2 spoons under the needle and you just pry them up. Sometimes I put a towel over here because these needles will shoot up in the sky and fall somewhere else. So here we go. After removing our needles, our gauge face just comes right off there. It's kind of snapped on around these pieces, but a little gentle prying, and it came right out. Next, I will have to get this plastic piece off. I've already pried these two guys, and I believe I can just work this right off, but I want to look at it real close. After removing our two metal frames for our two LCDs on either side, which just pry off, in fact, the plastic piece is loose, but it's held on. If I can get this in place and focus, I don't think I can do all this. It's held in there by this one little multi-connector. So I'm going to undo that, and the white plastic shall come off, and it will reveal our LEDs. Okay, while I was undoing the connector, and I had this upside down, both LCDs, fell out. Whoa, well, which way do they go? Which way's up? Which way's down? I can tell on this one, when I drop it in there, I can see the numbers that the 2 or whatever is not a 5 or whatever. This is so wild. All the LCDs I've ever worked with have pins that go in a socket. This is some type of magnetic method of lighting the LCD. I can't really get it in there looking through the camera lens, but they just drop in there, and then the little metal covers, I guess, hold them in place. That is totally wild. See, there's no pins there. It's like a rubbery plastic thing. That's the wildest thing I've ever seen. Guys who develop this stuff or like to shake some of those guys' hands, and the other guys I'd like to just beat on the head with a hammer. Well, not a hammer, but how about a rubber mallet? Okay, on we go. Oh yeah, and even though I did this unhook that one connector, we still have a ribbon cable here, and I'm just not sure if those are sockets or if that's soldered on. So I'm gonna try and work on this little gray connector, but we can see our LEDs now. Here they are. They're all PCL2s, and they shouldn't be hard to replace. And look how many LEDs they have around the needles. They've got 3. My 350Z, we only get 1. So this ought to be really bright cluster. Look at all the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for each gauge. That's cool. So probably no spotting issues with this. Here we go. Okay, sure enough, there's a socket right here, and I marked it with a Sharpie so I would know which end is which. And as soon as I started prying it out, the ribbon cable comes out. Oh, you hate that. I have Samsung HD TVs that use the mirror thing, and same thing on one of those. When you go to replace the large IC chip with the mirrors, there's one of these sockets, and it just simply comes out. I hate that. So have to be very careful not to damage this as I replace the LEDs. So I guess I will. I guess I'll post this as part 1 and start replacing LEDs in blue. So here you go.